Hello everyone. Do you know that the current world population is around 7.9 billion and estimated to be 9 to 10 billion by the year 2050? Now, according to the World Food Programme, we need an increase of 70% in the current crop yield to feed that population. But it seems to be highly challenging because of all these stressful climatic factors such as flooding, drought, mechanical perception, as simple as touch by heavy wind, rainfall, snow, herbivory. Now, all these climatic stressful factors ultimately lead to the reduction in crop yield. Now, how can plant biologists like us from the Gilroy Lab at University of Wisconsin-Madison contribute towards the solution of this problem? Now, in our lab, we study how plants behave to these kind of environmental factors. For example, let's talk about flooding. Now, in flooding, what happens? Plants elicit these calcium waves, as you can see in these green lines on the leaves. In addition to these kind of calcium waves, plants also display a number of other changes when they encounter this environmental stress factor. As you know, when fall approaches, there is a change in the color of the leaves. As you can see over here, the green color actually represents the pigment chlorophyll, and the reddish purple color over here, that represents the pigment anthocyanin. Do you want to know what happens to plants when they are being flooded? Let's have a look. So over here, you can see this plant. This is before flooding. So you can see they are displaying this bright green color. They have a lot of chlorophyll right now. But as they encountered the flooding, they change a lot. As you can see over here, there is more reddish purple color. That means there is more anthocyanin pigment formed. And anthocyanin pigment works like a stress factor. It displays that there is a lot of stress happening in the plants. There are a lot of other changes which happen inside the plant when plants encounter flooding. So flooding is just one kind of stress I talked about over here, but there are other kinds of stresses present in this world. So let's look into those and see how plants behave in response to those kind of stimuli.
Hello everyone! You know when you touch a hot pan and you immediately pull your hand away? It's because when you touch the pan, an electrical signal is sent from your fingertip all the way to your brain telling you this is too hot, I should stop touching it. This is how we cope with stress in our environment. But how do plants do it? We have a nervous system and a brain, but how do plants cope with stress in their environment? So they also send electrical signals. For example, if I touch a plant, or I cut a leaf, or a caterpillar munches on a leaf, there's an electrical signal sent from that point of contact throughout the plant. And this allows the plant to communicate what's happening. And one of the major ions that's used is calcium. So we have developed a fluorescent sensor that when we put plants under a microscope, we can watch this electrical signal move through the entire plant, which is super cool. So let's check out a couple videos to take a look. Here we have Arabidopsis thaliana, the lab rat of the plant world, and this one's special. It's been genetically transformed with a fluorescent sensor so we can see the calcium waves move through it. As we wounded the leaf and we added glutamate, which is a amino acid which triggers a response. So we can see the whole rosette lights up, especially along the leaf veins. So we see a nice, strong, bright green color as the calcium waves move through the entire plant. And in this video, we're looking at a specific wounding response. So here's another Arabidopsis plant. In here we have leaves 1, 5, and 6. So leaf 1 gets cut off, and we're going to look at the response in leaves 5 and 6. Again, we see that bright green glow color, but if you'll notice this time, we only see the bright green glow over on the left side of the plant. So as an adaptation, these plants will only trigger a really strong response in the side that's getting damaged. For example, if someone's stepping on a plant and it's getting damaged, then the other leaves on the same side should be worried about the same thing. Or if a caterpillar is eating on one side of the plant, the leaf next to it is probably also going to get eaten too. So plants are smart enough to only have a really strong response and send out this signal to one half of the plant. Isn't that cool? This is a Venus flytrap. These plants are pretty cool because I'm sure you've seen how they can close and trap insects. These plants have adapted to a low nutrient environment. They grow where there's not a lot of nutrients present, so they need to find a way to get those nutrients. And the answer is to trap insects and digest them and take the nutrients from those insects. But how does this work? It happens through electrical signals. So you'll notice that in each leaf, each lobe of the leaf, there's 3 little trigger hairs, and there needs to be 2 triggers felt. So if we tap a leaf twice, the trap will close, hopefully trapping an insect. Let's see another one. You can see how quickly they close after feeling that second stimulus. So if we take a look at the calcium waves using our fluorescent sensor, we can see it light up. It's super cool. Let's check it out. Here we have our Venus flytrap that has that same fluorescent sensor as our Arabidopsis. So when we see a calcium wave in our Venus flytrap, it's going to light up bright green. As we can see in this video, there's a needle touching one of the stimulus hairs, and then it touches the second stimulus hair, and it glows even brighter, and the trap closes because Venus flytraps need 2 stimuli to close. All right, let's take a look at another angle. So here we're viewing it from the top. We see the needle, we see the initial tap, and then we see a second stimulus on the same hair, and an even brighter fluorescence, and the trap closes. So our calcium waves are responsible for sending out this electrical signal in Venus flytrap.
We just saw the electrical signals that a plant produces in response to touch, but let's step back for a moment and think about what might cause those signals to occur in nature. So outside of a lab, when they're not underneath a microscope. There are many things that could cause these types of signals to be propagated in plants in nature, including rain, snow, wind, but one of the most common ones is herbivores, like insects. Those signals can be produced when an insect is landing on a plant and the plant perceives those little legs walking across it. They don't even have to bite the leaf yet before they sense that the insect is walking across it. We just saw the signals that are propagated throughout a plant's tissues when it senses a caterpillar walking on its leaves. Plants don't exactly have legs that they can run away from things that stress them out on. So what can plants do if they can't run away from the things that are coming to them in order to eat them? They can have really 2 options. They can defend themselves structurally, or they can defend themselves chemically. When chemical defenses are deployed, that's usually in response to something like a caterpillar munching on its leaves, and that would make the leaves less palatable and less tasty to the herbivores. That's why some plants are poisonous, is because they always, in response to very, very little stress, always produce these toxic compounds that are meant to deter things from eating it. Let's look at a plant that takes the structural route to defense instead of the chemical route. This plant is called Mimosa pudica, also known sometimes as the sensitive plant. It's native to the Americas. This plant also displays a unique behavior similar to what we saw in Venus flytraps when it's touched. However, this time it's not going on the offense, it's going on the defense. So when you are an herbivore, these plants, these leaves, look really big, really bright, and very nice. Very nice, tasty snack. So when an herbivore decides to crawl on it, maybe an insect, these plants will actually close up their leaflets because they want to appear to be smaller, not as bright, not as tasty, not as juicy to the herbivores. So when they are closed up like this, they appear a lot smaller and maybe not quite worth the insect's time.
Let's set up our own experiment. So to make a touch experiment, all you need are 2 pots, some seeds of your choice. I suggest a fast-growing species, and some soil. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the soil in each pot and then plant some of the seeds. Water them and let them grow for a bit until they're maybe an inch or 2 tall. And then 1 pot you should touch the plants every time you walk by, multiple times per day, and watch how their growth changes, and then leave the other pot completely untouched. You should notice that as a couple weeks go by, your touched plant winds up a lot smaller. So set it up with your favorite species and let's see what happens.
So today we learned how plants respond to this variety of environmental stress factors by eliciting calcium waves inside them, and how calcium signaling plays an important role in maintaining the growth and development of plants. So next time when you're touching a plant, remember the plants will know that you're touching them.